What's up, everybody? This is Alex here from Alto Music, and we are here at the Black Star booth, and I got Night Versus here. Thank you guys so much for being here. It's awesome to have you guys. So before we get into your gear, I know that you just have released Into the Vanishing Light. It came out July of 2016. Record sounds phenomenal. How's the record cycle been so far?
It's been cool, man. We did a lot of tours last year on it. Got to play with Let Live, Envy on the Coast, did a thing with Issues. It was sick. Playing the new stuff was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's just been great, man. We're doing a lot of stuff into this year to promote the album and just do new stuff too, so it's been great.
I think because of the process that we went through with the album too, it's nice because working with Ross, it was a lot of talking about like giving a full performance and kind of shutting your mind off and just letting whatever come out. And so I think it just comes a lot more naturally to us to play that way, and having a record that sounds like that makes it a lot less stress playing it, because we were in the room playing as hard as we could, playing like it was a show. It wasn't about perfection and kind of some of the ideas that we usually focus on in the studio. So I feel like it's been translating fairly well live, but as far as playing it, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's awesome. And it's fair to say you guys have a very experimental style of music. Like, people who love Periphery can like you, Animals as Leaders who like you, just so many progressive elements and real hard metal elements. So when you're recording new music, because your music is so experimental, does that allow for maybe like more flexibility for experimentation and incorporating new things and stuff like that?
I mean, yeah, definitely. Like we have a lot of different influences musically, so every time we go about writing songs, we always try to incorporate everything we like as much as possible and then expand on that. Like you said, going with Ross, there was a lot of experimentation, and he's very much like about pushing every boundary like to it beyond its limits, basically. So kind of going through that process and just things we do on our own, that combined was pretty crazy. We usually are about pushing the boundaries as much as possible.
Yeah, pretty well said, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's nice because our influences are so eclectic. Like, it can be pulling anything from Opeth to DJ Shadow. So working with Ross was nice because he could find something he liked in all of that versus just trying to make us sound like one thing. And it's always nice to work with someone that open-minded.
And you guys have toured with, you guys started, I believe, in 2012, I believe, and you guys have toured with a variety of different bands already. I know that you toured with Protest the Hero and Converge and many other bands. So any bands that you haven't toured with yet that you are coming up that you would like to mention or like to give a shout out to?
I wish I would have thought about this. We played a show with a band called Of Mice and Men recently at the Roxy. Yep. And that was really fun. All those guys are really cool. We saw them yesterday, so it'd be cool to tour with them. Yeah. And there's a lot of bands, you know, like in an ideal world, I know all of us would love to tour with a band like Tool or something like that.
Yeah, our buddies that play in intervals, well, it's like now it's Aaron and a new group, but we had toured with them with their old lineup, and we're really digging what he's doing now, so we'd love to go out with him again. And when we did the Let Live tour, we went out with a band called Silver Snakes, but they were shorter sets, so I think we'd all dig doing like an actual full like co-headline or something with them where everybody can play for a longer amount of time. But yeah, those dudes are rad.
Yeah, I was gonna agree with that. Silver Snakes are dope.
Yeah, that's awesome. And last question before we get into the gear, being that you guys are based in Orange County, California, you know, you're from the home of Avenged Sevenfold and Atreyu and 18 Visions and As They Lay Dying and bands like that. So being from that same area, did that allow for you to expand your music anymore? Like, do people associate you with that? Are you considered another Orange County, California band?
I'm not sure if we're considered like an Orange County band because our singer's from Long Island too. So I think we're kind of got like a bi-coastal reputation. But all those bands we listened to growing up and stuff, and metal in that way when we were younger definitely like influenced us. So I think there's like a little bit of in there, like Thrice and stuff like that too, another Orange County band.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, growing up we definitely listened to some of those bands, but right now I think we draw from a few other things more than just what we grew up around us, you know?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like you said, I don't think the Orange County thing comes up as much, especially because I feel like all of our tours go to the East Coast first, so we spend more time over there anyway. But we definitely want to play over here more, so hoping in the future we'll get to do more West Coast and runs and actually end up in our hometown.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And just the final question we'd like to go over some of the gear you guys use. So what are some of the gears you use in order to get your very distinctive sound? Like, is it your amps, your guitars, your pedals? What do you incorporate?
For me, mostly, my tone, I shape a lot with my Spectre, just the actual tone knobs on it because it's so versatile. But I do use a lot of different pedals like Digitech whammies and other stuff to like enhance it. But my overall tone is mostly through the bass itself and not actually like through my settings on my amp or something. But that's just me.
Yeah, I mean, I have a Blackstar Series 1 100 watt amp. That's been my head for the last 2 years. We did our new record with it, so all the distortion tones are from that amp. And then I also use PRS guitars. So I have my two main guitars, which are both PRS. I have an S2 and a custom 22, which is my main guitar. That, and then yeah, a combination of pedals, like he said, whammy, we all have those, and then I have a couple delay pedals. Just random companies that whatever I find that sounds cool, I try to combine them and get creative.
I play Tama drums, Meinl cymbals, Remo heads, and Vic Firth sticks. But it's cool because those were all the ones that I grew up playing, like all the stuff that I loved. So those help. And then I also use this Roland pad, a couple Roland pads actually, and run pedals through that. So on the melodic end, that's more where it comes from. But drum-wise, those are my companies that I'll be with for the rest of my life.
That's awesome. And is it the same in the studio? Do you use the same gear in the studio as you do live, or do you have to adjust your equipment depending on whether you're in the studio or on the stage?
With our new album, there was a lot of stuff that was on the fly. Ross likes to use a lot of pedals, a lot of vintage stuff, like stuff that was literally breaking as we were using it, and we had to go back and recreate some of it. But no matter what, if it makes the record, we figure out a way to recreate it as close as possible so we can replicate it 100% live, so we don't use backing tracks or anything. If you hear noises, it's either him on guitar or him on his pads or something like that. We're trying to be pure in that way, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, all the distortion, I believe, on the last record was the Blackstar, but we did, for clean tones, use I think a Marshall and a Vox just to kind of switch things up. But yeah, I mean, generally speaking, we use our own stuff. All the guitar was, for the most part, my PRS, and I think I used a Rickenbacker on like one song. So.
I mean, yeah, I use all the same stuff. I think it's a little bit easier for me because drum tones, a lot of it has to do with their miking and the way that they try and tune the heads and stuff. But I get a little more leeway in that I get to use my own stuff every time.
That's awesome. Everybody, thank you so much for being here. It means a lot to us. Be sure to check out Blackstar. We are here at NAMM 2017. I got Night Versus here. Check out their new record, Into the Vanishing Light. If you haven't yet, you've been missing out. It came out back in July 8th of 2016. Everybody, Night Versus.